Welcome back, everybody, to the Talkin' Cock podcast. It's TNC with R&E, baby. It's called Talkin' Cock because it's just two guys dicking around. I'm here with Eli, my co-host. Unfortunately, no. how
That
you
was
doing?
rude.
How you doing?
That was
Did that ruin your day?
not good anymore. You know what? I was doing fantastic up until that point.
Is it stressing you out?
You ruined. Yeah, you ruined my day.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. Well, at least we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, no, we do. We do.
Tell me how I'm ruining your day.
Apparently.
I'm just like so
Not yet.
smiley. I was like, tell me how I'm ruining your day.
Not yet. Not yet. You have to wait. You have to
Oh,
wait.
okay. I have to get the right dialogue tree to get to the answer.
Yeah, no, it's gotta flow in, but
It's like I say one thing,
I'm
and then it
doing
just says at the bottom of the screen, Eli will remember that.
yeah. No, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. How are you doing today,
Hell yeah.
Ryan, though? I didn't ask you.
I'm doing all right. The day off. Went
Yeah?
for a nice run. I'm drinking
Solid.
caffeine, so my day's just great. This is awesome.
Damn, you're drinking a double shot at 7?
You really gonna dox me like that?
I'm.
You're gonna tell everyone my secrets?
That's wild. That's wild.
You know what?
I can't.
Eli's
No, I can't do
uncircumcised.
that.
There, your secrets are out too.
I'm appalled that you would think that is true. That's my big problem with that. Honestly, that is why I made that face, because I cannot believe you thought that was.
I don't actually think it. That's the fucking thing.
No, I know that. See, you're making me stressed out now.
You got it. Yeah. You know, I actually have a good way of dealing with stress. I actually wanted to show you.
Is this what your idea? Is this what your idea of the episode was? You were just going to stress me out so that you could pull all these strategies?
Well, it's stress for distress, satisfaction. So I can stress you out and get satisfaction from doing that. That's the whole point of this episode. Did you not read the card?
Sometimes, Ryan.
What?
Sometimes.
Listen, let me show you my stress technique, and then tell me if you can feel a little better.
Close.
Just let me show you my stress technique, okay?
Okay.
So what I like to do,
right.
I like to go into the bathroom and I like to give myself words of encouragement in the mirror, okay? So I'm gonna try and say it loud enough for the mic to pick it up. I am, I'll be right back.
Okay. All right.
Now just let me show you
my
technique.
Okay. Sounds good. Let's see what this dude's got. That was good.
You're supposed to have a better.
Does that normally
man.
work?
You're supposed to.
Does that normally work though? That's what I'm concerning.
I feel so relaxed right now.
Like, but do you normally like? Is it only for like a second, or
no?
Do you
It's just an example. I usually do that for hours at a time.
Okay. No, that makes a lot more sense, because like for me, whenever I scream in the bathroom, it's for at least like 30 minutes.
That was pretty quiet for me, honestly. You call that screaming?
Yeah. Well, sorry, speaking loudly. That was kind of normal. I mean, I feel like you're whispering right now, right?
Yeah, I like whispering. You know, I don't want to be overbearing or anything.
Yeah, no, of course.
I don't want to like ruin the viewers' ears or anything by like being loud. I would never do that.
No. But I'm glad you found something that works for you. You know?
Yeah. Just do that. I usually do it for like 3.5 hours. Sometimes I cut it off at like 3-hour mark if I don't have a lot of time. You know.
That makes sense. Sense.
I try to be really productive with my time and my expressions. You know.
Yeah.
Did you have a stroke there? What the fuck's going on?
I was imitating you.
Well, I wasn't having a stroke, so I don't know why you decided to have one.
Okay. Don't listen to him. He's not real.
Who are you talking to then if I'm not real, dude?
I was talking to the camera.
Okay, well, that's not a person. You're weird. You got nothing. You got nothing.
We're only 5 minutes in. Dude's already stressing me out. Now
Yeah,
I get
no,
why
that's the point of the episode.
now I get the
I came up with the topic
so
for the episode, so I
so the whole goal is to make me stressed and
and then
then
you're going to teach
you
us
be
how to manage
satisfied.
stress in real time. Yeah, okay, 10.
It's gonna be a tough one.
Then why are we recording? If you don't even like me, I'll just go. I'll do my stress technique for another 3 hours. I might even go to 4 because of you.
Will you?
Just because of you.
Will you?
That's why I have to whisper, because I have to save my voice for the mirror. Shows you who's really important. This guy.
The mirror?
Me.
The mirror is the important one?
What does the mirror look like
That's
when
why
I
you
look
save
into
your
it?
energy?
It's me.
I mean, it looks like you, but
evil,
it's not you.
It's my evil twin from another dimension. I like to scream at him and fucking taunt him. Be like, you can't get me, bitch! And he says the same thing to me. He's right. And that brings me elated relaxation.
Okay. All right. Whatever works, right?
Yeah.
Not all strategies work for everyone, right?
I mean, don't knock it till you try it, right?
I mean, agreed.
Talk to an evil self
agreed.
from another dimension. I mean, you never know. It could bring you relief too.
It could work. It could work. You never know.
Sometimes he comes through, and then I get a little bit more stress.
You don't know if you don't try.
Exactly. I'm glad you're finally getting it.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching today's episode, everyone. Talking Cock Podcast. Peace out. Sorry, I'll have to cut that out.
Canceled.
We both came to the same conclusion.
Oh, jeez.
How you been? Because we've been on a different schedule with recording and getting our stuff out.
Yeah.
How do you like this flow better?
It's been something. I think I've been kind of all over the place the last couple weeks too. So it's been, I don't know. It's worked. It's our new system that we're trying out is working.
Yeah, I think it was weird for a while because we had so much recorded ahead of time.
Yeah,
and we would go a month without, month or 3 months without recording at all.
Yeah. Well, because episode 6, I'm gonna date our episodes here, but it's just for the math. Okay. We can cut it out later, but yeah.
So we recorded on beep, 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 and then we recorded on beep, 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 and so now you guys know what we've been going through.
But no, episode 6 was the last one of 2023, and then we didn't record at all until the end of February.
Yeah,
so and we only recorded 2.5 months.
One at the end of February.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then we took another month, and then now we're getting back into our rhythm of recording every other week.
Yeah, episode 7 was kind of like getting the ring rust off.
Yeah,
getting some rounds in the ring.
Yeah,
to get used to podcasting again, because we've just been kind of doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff. And it's good.
I think it's been really good for just our workflow of everything, because there is a lot of stuff that we do.
Yeah, we're a 2-person crew. We're only not only the faces of it, but we do all the editing and the promotion and the thumbnails and the titles and everything.
Yeah,
and you are the organizing force behind this whole thing.
I do what I can.
He does too much.
Sometimes
he's just I was just organizing things for the past 6 hours. It's fun. I was like, are you okay? Are you mentally? He's like, oh, this is great.
I was like, no, I love it.
You're fucking psychopath.
No, I know. I still really like organizing. I mean, hell, I half my job is organizing, but so I actually do get paid to organize, but if I were to get paid for this organizing, it would be so much more fun, because these are things that I really genuinely care about.
Maybe eventually, yeah.
I definitely
want the same thing. I think I don't know.
That's the end goal.
That's the end
of
goal. If I
course.
didn't have to work like my full-time job and I could fully focus on this, I feel like I
Yeah.
could do a lot, you know,
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
like with
No,
all
me
that
too.
energy. That's why I'm, getting some caffeine in me so I can have energy. I like to bring good energy when we record because I really enjoy recording.
Because you hate my energy that I bring,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, stress for the
Okay.
satisfaction, and so I want to be satisfied. And you're managing your stress. Take a breath.
Yep.
It's okay.
Yep.
It's all right.
That's what we do. That's how we do.
Yep.
You have anything else to add to the little new system that we've been
I
doing
like it.
recently?
I
Yeah.
think the adjustment period has really made me fall behind a bit
Yeah.
because like now I'm just like, oh, now we gotta, do all this in this manner. Before it was like, do it whenever you want. We got 3 months till our first episode comes out.
Yeah. Yeah. It was much more lax, and like now we're like
I want a
in the
stricter
actual thick of
schedule, but
it.
I can't just like turn it on.
Yeah.
I gotta
Yeah.
screw the light bulb in slowly because I'm afraid of getting electrocuted.
No, I get that. I get that.
But I think we're making good adjustments, both of us,
Yeah.
and we're also like just
Yeah.
catching
I
up
think so.
and getting more into this flow. And I really like where we're going.
Yeah. Yeah. It is still like every time we sit down to record, it always crosses my mind that we started all of this.
As a joke.
We're just gonna do whatever, it's
No,
no topics,
we might play
no
some video games.
preparation. Yeah, like what?
Yeah, but I
Which,
just
could still happen for Patreons. And it probably is gonna happen for Patreons, but like the fact that we went from that to
we didn't
the
know what our
lighthearted
brand
men's
was
mental
gonna
health.
be. We just
No,
loved talking,
no.
and we thought we could really make
We
something
thought,
special.
yeah, and
And
we
I
have
had no
at
idea
least
how
what I
special it would be. At least for me, like having a men's
yeah,
mental health podcast, these topics interest the fuck out of me. I'm so
yeah.
interested in what we talk about. So when I'm editing,
No, same here.
or
Same here.
when we're like getting, stuff and you see like the video that I edited, like we're just like,
Yeah,
oh, you're fucking cooking there. We're fucking cooking,
yeah,
bro.
yep,
I just
yep. When we do our little sit downs, it's like, oh wait, no, go back. That was amazing.
just
Let's
watch it
watch
like
that
5
again.
times. Or like
Yeah.
or just like when I'm editing, like starting a task is always the hardest thing for me. Because like I want to do a million. Hello? We'll take a second. We got Will Smith over here with iRobot. Oh, we're
Okay,
back. Okay, we're back.
we're back. We're back.
Cool. You should have heard what I said. I was like, we got Will Smith over here with iRobot. Because on
Well,
my
you
end,
started like talking like
because on
that.
my end it went like, and you're just,
That's
and you're just frozen.
that's what happened on my end, and I was just like, all right, I guess I gotta wait.
Yeah, man.
But
So glad you're staying where you're
I don't
at.
Yeah. No, I was just telling right before this recording, I was just telling Ryan that my complex just sent me the email to like re-sign my lease, and I saw that they sent it yesterday while I was at work, and I audibly laughed out loud. I was like,
Oh,
I was like, these people really think I'm gonna sign again and deal with this bullshit.
and it's like this place literally goes against like you doing your job, doing your hobbies, everything.
Yep. 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 No, it's just everything is
Having a
against.
secure home where people don't steal your shit.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing it has going for it is I like the location about where it's located. That's the only thing. It's the
I
only
feel
thing
like
I
you
like.
could sacrifice that for just better everything else.
Yeah. Yeah.
They make you pay
I
for
mean,
cable.
when
That's fucking stupid. And then you
fucking
pay for
$75
not only Wi-Fi, but shitty Wi-Fi.
shitty Wi-Fi, flat rate, Wi-Fi cable included in the same purchase, $75 a month.
Absolutely insane.
And it's community Wi-Fi, which essentially translates to no
Hotel
stable
Wi-Fi.
No stability. Yeah, yeah. Essentially hotel Wi-Fi. And like I've had better Wi-Fi at hotels before. I have legit had better Wi-Fi at
I bet.
hotels before.
I think I have too. I think
It's just
I think I last
I'm
time I was
sure
in a
you
hotel, I
have.
was playing Overwatch on my Switch. So, um,
Okay.
speaking of stress, a little
Yeah.
stressed out right now. Yeah, we talk about recording and like the stress that comes with our hobbies and like things like this. But I think
Yeah.
when you have stress for things that you enjoy, I think that's meaningful like energy that you put towards it, a meaningful thought.
Mhm.
But then there's the things about stress that you can't really control,
Mhm.
like things out of your control. You stress about it, you're just stressed, and then you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
You can't put that energy into the thing that you're stressed about because it's out of your control.
Yeah. Well, like one of the things I've always said, and I don't know if I've talked to you about this, but like one of the biggest things about managing stress is like
Hmm.
you can't spend your mental energy worrying about things that are out of your control. Like you can't worry about hitting traffic on the way home from work.
Yeah.
You have zero control of what happens on the road.
Or
You
like
can't
I'm worried about the economy
control
right now. It's like, oh, let me just fix that real
it's like
quick.
that. Yeah, yeah, it's like that doesn't happen, you know? Like let's say you have a really shitty car, no way to fix it, but then you know, still like oh god, it's you know, like that. It does nothing but take so much like energy from you, puts it towards that, and there's nowhere to go with it. It just it stays in limbo,
Yeah.
you know, and just is constantly fighting against you.
Yeah. But like things that you can stress about, like, oh, I'm stressed about
Yeah.
uh I really want to write in my journal and like get all this emotion
Mhm.
out and I'm stressed I might not have the time. That's like meaningful because then once you do
Yeah.
that thing, you get satisfaction from releasing the
Yeah.
energy and expressing yourself. And I told you this, I've said
True.
this in episodes, the healthiest people in the world are those who can purely express themselves. I think
Exactly.
there's impure
Exactly.
expression and it helps a little bit, but expressing yourself is like a completely different language in whatever you use as your tool of expression.
Agreed. Agreed. I mean, it's hard to, you know, you don't. I feel like a lot of people don't like they don't get to a point in their life where they can express themselves fully or like truly.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like a lot of people put on this facade or, you know, fake persona to appease the minds of, you know,
Everyone else,
people that they're
societal
around,
expectations.
right? Right? And then they almost lose who they truly are through doing that.
Yeah, like they put on like a
And they
mask and they're just someone else,
right?
but then behind the scenes, like behind that mask, it's that meme where it's like this guy with a smiling mask, but then you see behind he's just crying.
Yep, yep.
And it's
Exactly, you know, it's
I like
like
laugh about it, but it's also like a very true thing. Like
no, it is it's very
just
true.
a few days ago, I'm just like, the world is hopeless. I hate my life. But now I'm like, oh, goody, I'm here.
Were you talking about when we were playing Lethal?
I- or just well, in general, like I do that. Like there be days where I'm just like, fuck the world, and then I'm like, woohoo, let's party.
And then you get and then you get your day off and you're like, "Oh no, it's fine. I'm good."
Yeah,
You know?
I mean,
It's like it's a happy world.
just
But
learning to like express yourself is really beneficial because it also helps you work through like trauma. It gets it
it's
clears space in your head for more stuff. And I
right,
feel like
right.
sometimes, especially people with like mental illnesses and stuff, they feel bad a lot. Or if they have a lot of
Yeah.
trauma and they don't know how to work through it, they just feel bad a lot of the time. So then one little thing goes
Because
wrong.
it's stuck in there.
Yeah,
All of those bad
they're just
negative
bouncing
experiences are
in your
stuck
mind.
in there,
And you even
right?
mentioned
And then they
earlier
have
things that you think about throughout the day. They kind of just run
yeah.
through and bounce back and forth, but you don't
Mhm.
have the time to think about it and like
Yeah.
acknowledge those thoughts. And you really need to acknowledge
Yeah.
those thoughts You have a negative thought, you're like, okay, why am I thinking this? Is that the actual
Yeah.
thing I'm worried about, or am I feeling bad about something else? And then it's making me overreact in this situation. Every situation's
Mm-hmm.
different. And I think,
Yeah.
people that struggle with like mental illnesses and feel bad most of the time, their mind's trying to figure it out. And I relate to this because I do this all the time. I'm like, why do I feel bad? And I'm trying to get to the bottom of it and ask why. And then one little thing
Mm-hmm.
will go wrong, or I do one little thing wrong. And I'm like, there we go. That's why I feel bad. I'm terrible. I'm the worst. You know, the world hates me. Blah blah blah.
So it's like one thing sets it off, right?
Yeah, it's like you have a bottle and it's completely full. So then if you turn on the faucet just a little bit, things will start to spill over because you have
Mm-hmm.
all
Mm-hmm.
this filled up. And it's almost like your mind's looking for a reason why you feel bad. And sometimes there's not an immediate answer. That sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I feel like in those times you're kind of stuck in a situation where you are attempting to find where like the negativity stems from, but you're not, like you're so pent up inside that it's hard
It's
for
hard to
you to
focus
like
in
yeah, it's hard to navigate through those areas because you're like, oh, there's another thing that I'm angry about.
because it's probably not
You
just
know?
one answer. There's
No,
a lot of
no,
things that happen in your life, a lot of things that happen
it's
through your
never
day
one thing.
that will annoy you, upset you, bring some negative energy
Yeah,
into your life. So, like, you can't just
yeah,
look for one thing, one simple answer. The mind is not
yeah.
that easy to understand. We're still figuring
No,
out things
and
today about the mind.
yeah, and like a lot of I don't know. I have a lot of friends who try to like you said, find the one thing that is making them mad, and it's like it's never just one thing. Maybe maybe one thing sets it off, like you said with the bottle analogy,
Or like it's
like
like a chain reaction.
one, right, but like one more drop makes the whole thing spill over,
Yeah. Like one single
right? but
drop will make
but
things spill on all sides down the bottle.
right, right, but like that one drop is not the reason that it's spilling. It's because it was already full to begin with,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So like there's that
So
you
you
could
need
think
you
about
need to
too. But
express yourself to empty that bottle and to have more room
yeah,
for things you tolerate cuz you're going to get stress, which is the water. You're going to get that through
yeah.
the day. Every single day.
Oh,
That's
always,
why you
every
sleep to
single day.
recharge.
That's why you
That's why
eat.
you eat. That's
That's
why you
why you
express yourself to empty that bottle.
exercise. Like
But when everything's
do
pent
all of
up,
this.
you don't express yourself. The bottle stays
Yeah,
full, and then you're just an angry person. It sucks because I didn't know any real techniques for expressing myself or how important it was until I
yeah.
was, in my 20s already. So everything, one little thing would go wrong, and it was just like, oh, that it ruins my whole day. Fuck everything,
Hmm.
because I just couldn't handle it. And
Yeah,
finding healthy ways to express yourself, journaling is super insightful, and you express how you feel. Like you just kind
hmm.
of look in and you write down, I'm feeling bad today. Why am I feeling
Yeah,
bad? And then if you don't
and
have
then
the
you
immediate answer,
write down. Yeah,
then every thought that goes to your mind, just write it down. Stream of consciousness.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
literally your mind's like giving you all the information. You just gotta do something with it.
I'm not yawning about this.
You need one of these. That's what you need.
No, no, I'd be up all night if I had one of those.
expressing
But
expressing yourself, dealing with your issues in a healthy way.
yeah,
Boring.
I didn't. I didn't yawn like that.
you just you do like an exaggerating one. You're not even like actually yawning. You're like, sorry, did you say something? Oh yeah.
My bad. What were you talking
Sorry,
about?
I thought this podcast was gonna be entertaining. My bad. I thought we were making entertainment.
Jesus, I'm not that big of a dick.
I
Sometimes,
am.
sometimes,
I am.
sometimes. No, it's just I don't know. I feel like managing stress is more or less a lifetime challenge.
Oh yeah, because you'll never express
You know
yourself
it.
the same way in one particular area.
every single time. Yeah, no, and like the solution to any problem is not going to be the same way that you're going to handle it yourself every single time,
Yeah, I
you
I
know?
played trombone for 11 years of my
Yeah.
23-year-old life. So
Yeah.
that was my way of expressing and escaping. Especially when I played jazz, it was just like a whole nother world. Sometimes I wouldn't even know what
Yeah.
I'm playing. My hand would just go. And sometimes it felt like the most pure form of expression, especially when I was doing it all the time because I was getting better at it.
Mhm.
It was like you're speaking a different language through the trombone and you're expressing exactly how you feel in this like beautiful music. And those were some of the times I was in my flow state where no other
Okay.
thoughts were coming in. Maybe before I start, I have a lot of things on my chest and in my mind, but after I go,
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of playing, it was just like nothing up here. It was completely focused,
Really?
full expression.
Wow.
All of the negative energy I was feeling was coming out of my horn in this translated, beautiful music. So I think
That's
that's,
really cool.
yeah,
Never thought about that.
it's something that's really important to me, like your flow state. A lot of like gurus that try to scam you talk about it all the time, and they're like, if you pay for my
Mhm.
$297 class, then I'm gonna teach you how to be in the flow state, and then you're gonna get a bunch of bitches and you're gonna be a billionaire as long as you pay me money. But like, flow state to me is the most pure form of expression in whatever task you're doing. Bro, you could be a fucking
Yeah.
accountant
Agreed.
and
Agreed.
express yourself so fully, have such meaningful
Uh-huh.
interactions with your clients, and that just like, it's being social, doing your job to the best of your abilities are all ways of expressing yourself. I think that's what a lot of people don't get because it can be any
That's
skill.
true. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what are some ways that you kind of express yourself?
Honest, it's it's been different over the years. I feel like
It definitely changes
it's
a lot,
always
right?
changing. Yeah, it changes like I wouldn't say constantly, but it's pretty often that my flow state, changes. But for me, it's different. I know I was talking to you about this earlier, but most of my days kind of go by with something happening in the background. And by background, I mean like, whether I have an AirPod in and I'm listening to music, or I'm listening to, a TV show, or, I don't have any headphones on, but there's, a conversation in the office happening over there
It's
that
like
I'm
white
like kind
noise.
of,
It's like a
yeah.
comfort thing
Or,
because maybe like when you're doing a task, you don't want your mind to keep distracting you, especially like people that get, easily distracted. I'm one of them. I
like
will
me with
bounce.
ADHD.
Yeah, and I also
Yeah.
bounce around all the time with whatever I'm doing. I'll be cleaning my house
Yeah.
and like I'll be halfway done getting the trash together and I'm like, "Oh, but this needs put away. This needs put away. Oh, 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 oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to wipe down my sink." And I do that for like 30 minutes. I'm like, "I was taking out the fucking trash."
Yep. Yep. No, that's how most of my days go.
But then when I'm listening to music and
I
I'm doing dishes, I'm like shaking my hips and like cleaning with a sponge. I'm like, "Ooh, yeah." So I get that. Like, it
No,
keeps
that's
your
what.
mind from like wandering and bouncing all over the place.
Yeah, and I'm not entirely sure where this part of myself stems from, but I've had a lot of like intrusive thoughts for most of my life. And especially with my ADHD, like I mean I say it all the time, but I at any given moment I have about like 600 different thoughts
Yeah, and you're trying to
like
sift
going
through
on
and
at any.
and see what comes
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, and that normally translates into how I express myself because I'm trying to pull, things from my brain down without pulling everything down that does not need to come down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of you in here, but you're trying to
Ye-
present yourself in the way that you want to be presented.
yeah, yeah. And I think that's been a struggle for a long time.
What's something that you do
Hold
to
on.
like clear the clutter of the amount of thoughts that you have because you have a lot like every given second.
Honestly, like I do listen to a lot of music,
Mhm.
but occasionally there's so much music that I have to like, either take off my headphones or take out my AirPods or something, or just literally just press pause and kind of sit there in silence, even for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like 5 minutes of silence for me is hours of time to pull, because like with those scenarios, that's the time where I can sit and choose what thoughts I pull
You
down.
have to consciously like
And
sift through and like figure out what's going on in your head. But when you're doing
right,
like a task,
right,
you don't have time in the thought process to do it because you're in the middle of something.
right, because like 75 or 80% of my brain is focused on this task, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, like all of these thoughts that are going through, and they're just kind of passing by.
Yeah, and I think you put
They're
on
they're
music.
popping in, they're
I
popping
think you
out.
put on music to kind of like put some more sensory input into your
Yeah,
brain so that when it like wants to go off task, it's going to the music that you're listening to. You're like, "Oh,
yeah,
this is a dope
yeah.
song. All right, cool." And then you're
Mm,
more in a good mood to do the task that you're currently doing.
right. So like that's why at work, that is kind of how I deal with that, so that I can stay in my flow state during work.
Yeah, because
And
when you
then
bounce your attention somewhere, you want it to be somewhere good that gives you some good
yeah,
energy. Then you put that energy back into what you're doing.
yeah, exactly. And there are a lot of thoughts that if I were sitting in silence and, just trying to work at the same time, there's a good chance that those negative thoughts would come rushing in, and I wouldn't, you know, obviously I wouldn't want to be thinking about a negative thought while I'm trying to work, because that's going to put me in a really shitty mood and not want to,
Oh yeah,
perform
it's
well
just more
at work.
distracting than anything.
Right. And then, let's say I'm, writing a report, right?
Mhm.
I'm halfway done, a negative thought pops in, and then I'm stumped for, 2, 3 minutes trying to figure out, where my train of thought was, because I just got interrupted by this like really negative thing that kind of put a damper on my day,
Yeah, this happens
you
like
know?
sometimes
So,
when we talk too, where it's like I gotta
yeah,
pop in to like add on to the point you were saying, but then like you lose your train of thought and you're like, hold on, give me like a minute.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
there's so
no,
much going through
that's,
your head and like you're sifting through, you finally chose the right thing. And then I talk for a little bit and it's like, oh.
and I feel like sometimes, like when that happens, like let's say, excuse me, let's say like if I pull a thought down and it's here,
Mhm.
and then someone interjects, even for 5 seconds, it just goes bloop,
Yeah.
and then I return and I'm like, wait,
That's kind of why like
where did it go? Where did it go?
that's kind of like I told you I don't do well when we're in groups of people that talk. I'm way better at
Yeah,
like one-on-one conversations. Because not only
yeah,
like
no, I,
I've had a lot of narcissistic tendencies growing up, so I would do a lot of mirroring, and I can't mirror an entire group of people. But then I would
yeah,
also like have so many thoughts going through my head. I'm like, what's the right thing to say with everyone else's input? It's really hard to figure that out. So it's just hard for me to kind of interject and have my say into everything.
yeah, no, I totally get that. I totally get that.
Yeah.
Um,
So
I'm trying to find the right word for it. It like relieve it,
yeah,
like let it out. So I probably would go on a run, or
would
I
you do
would
like
like
my
do like
mirror
a
method,
really,
what I just did earlier?
maybe if I was in the room with you, yeah.
We could do it
But if it
together.
was just me, we could do it together. We could like take turns, like see,
Yeah, and
be
give like
like,
tips to each other. Like, no, no, you need to be louder.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then like, one of us walks out and you're like, nope, go back in there. That wasn't loud enough. That wasn't loud
I
enough.
can't hear you. The neighbors are like banging on the fucking like ceiling, like
Police are at the door. We have a noise complaint. You're like, I'm relieving my
I'm just.
stress. Okay.
This is pretty moderate for me, honestly. What's a form of
I
relief
don't
for you?
know.
Are you watching like
It's
a comfort show?
well, so one of the things that I've done a lot in the past,
Hmm.
is using nicotine to handle stress, and that's something that I've just recently completely stopped doing. Um,
Congratulations, by the way.
and Yeah, thank you. It's been
That's fucking
I was
hard.
just talking to someone.
Anyone who's
I was
not
just talking to
done nicotine, like quitting when you've been doing it for years,
cold
so
cold turkey. Cold turkey is a bitch.
yeah.
But I've done it before. But this time is different because I honestly do not plan on ever touching one again.
Yeah, I don't even think you
Like
liked it near
I'm
the end.
no, no. It was just a habit. Like the last year or so that I did it. It was just kind of a
And
habit
every time you
that
like saw
was
that you
very
did it, you're like,
expensive.
"Oh fuck. I hate this."
Yeah. And like, the fact that we took it out of videos because I'm like, I don't want that in there, like
But it's
it
not a
was
bad thing either to like take it out of videos or something. It's just like you're like, "This isn't
but
me." It's just like with nicotine,
right?
especially when you started when you were younger, it rewires your
Yeah.
brain. It's addictive
It
and
it,
it forms neural
it
pathways
did.
that you have to stop going down, which is so hard.
Like yeah, it's one of the, I'm not going to say it's one of the hardest things that anyone is ever going to have to do, but it is for someone who has been addicted to nicotine. It is the hardest thing that you're going to have to do
I mean,
regarding that.
addiction in general, like stopping this very deeply ingrained neural
Hmm.
pathway, it goes against your survival instincts almost.
Yeah.
Where it's like
Yeah.
you trained your brain
It,
to think like, "Oh, this is normal life. This is what I need." And then you stop doing
mhm.
that. It's almost like your brain's like, well, "I need food. I need water."
And like especially with nicotine, a lot of people start using it to deal with stress and to deal with like high tension. They, will smoke a cigarette after, an argument to, calm themselves down or, something along those lines. And for me, I always used nicotine to de-stress,
Yeah.
after after a stressful situation.
It's your coping mechanism.
But
And
yeah, it was, and I am not gonna, I'm not afraid to admit that it was a very unhealthy coping
oh
mechanism.
yeah. And we
It's
all have like
it's terrible for
our vices, right? But the more
yeah,
we
no,
acknowledge it
everyone
and then the
does.
more work we do on ourselves and congrats on the work that you've done on yourself to realize it's
Yeah,
unhealthy, that you should stop. And
yeah, it's been like 16 days as of today,
yeah,
so it's been
it's got a lot of withdrawal, but like you're still doing your normal life,
yeah,
working full
it's
time, doing the podcast too, which is rough because our workload is higher because we do these recordings, we got to plan them out, and we're actually like on this strict schedule now.
hmm.
And
Well, see, being on a strict schedule for me is even more easy than being like
like willy nilly,
um
like kind of
you
like
know yeah, yeah, like being in a schedule, like having structure to
a
my life
routine. Yeah,
makes
routines are really
everything
good.
so much easier.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think for me, it's harder for me to adapt to a routine.
No, and I get that because I don't think you've had like anything that's long lasting enough to like have that structured routine,
Yeah, my parents did not put
other
any kind of like discipline into my life, and so the things I was
yeah,
able to accomplish were more just like pouring my whole soul into something rather than it
yeah.
being like disciplined. I just kind of like worked so hard that it was like I can't not be good at this.
It was like this is the thing that I chose and this is what I'm going to spend my time doing.
Yeah, and I think what really fell apart for me like with trombone, like I do want to get back into doing it, but it's so hard to rewire my brain to accept
Mhm.
that side of me again because
Yeah.
it was my vice. It was something that was very unhealthy for me. I would play
Yeah.
until I I don't know, like there'd be rings around my mouth, um, because I don't have a lot of endurance, and it was just kind of going against my biology. And I
Yeah.
remember sometimes, like, I don't know, my teeth would feel weird because I was just pressing so much pressure on here,
Oh,
and I don't know. It
painful.
was very painful. I would kind of work till I drop, and it was so unhealthy.
Yeah.
And not only was I working till I drop it, it was stuff I didn't even like playing. Like classical music's cool, and I can really appreciate it because I've been doing it. But like I told
Yeah.
you this the other day, I've never been to like a a real concert that I haven't been performing in.
Yeah,
Like I've been to other people's
which is
recitals and stuff in school.
crazy.
I'll say that, but most of the meaningful music
Well, you've
live,
never been to, like, an artist
yeah,
concert.
most of the meaningful live experiences I've had, I've also been in them and do playing music.
Which is cool, like, from one standpoint, right?
Yeah, but there's a difference between like, because in high school I was jazz improving all the time, most days of the week, because I had a
Yeah,
class, and the class was
yeah.
basically express yourself through your music, and it was really fun. Um, and that's where I got in my flow state when I was doing music. But then when I got to
Yeah.
college, it was all about classical music. I
Okay.
don't think there wasn't even a jazz major or anything I could have gone down. So like I would have to get like grad students or like really good jazz students from the jazz band to like teach me things here and there and lessons.
Okay.
And I didn't
Yeah.
really get to practice jazz that much because sure I was in the jazz band and everything, but my practice had to go to the
But you
classical
were
music
most
because it needs
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
work. It's very complicated and complex.
And it was what you were there for, so, like, you
That's
had
how I
to
got into college in
succeed
the
at
first
it.
place. I played a classical piece, but
Exactly.
I didn't give like a 5-star performance when I auditioned.
Yeah.
But when they asked if I could play jazz, I was like, yeah, I can do it right now. That's how confident I was because it was like this classical piece I've been playing for an entire year to prepare for college auditions.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
meanwhile, improv, I did all the time. I'll just go with shit off the top of my head. And the flow state is something that I think you just don't even have to try. Like
Yeah.
you're not putting conscious thought into doing this one thing that really helps you express yourself. You're so good at it at that point. You're so used to doing it that all the energy comes out. There's no thoughts going in your head and
Mhm.
you're just completely focused and you finally have escaped from the outside influences of the world. And classical
Yeah.
music wasn't really doing that for me, but jazz, that's why college auditions, I was like, I could do it for you right now. And they're like, we just asked if you could play jazz. And I'm like, yeah, but do you want to hear it? They're like, this has never happened before, but sure. Yeah. What key do you want? I said, doesn't matter.
I love that.
That
I
confidence
love
came
that.
from a place of like, this is how I express myself. This is where my real
Yeah.
skill lies. And so he just went with like, a B flat blues because he's like the person that was playing piano wasn't like a piano major or anything. So he just kind of knew like the basic one. I was like, sure, we'll go with it. Figured it out.
So you just performed, like, right in front of them?
I just improved right on the spot. He just started playing some piano
I
chords and I went with it. And they were like,
That's
I
awesome.
was packing up my trombone and the trombone instructor looks at me and he's like, oh, hey, Ryan. Yeah, you're in. He didn't even have to wait until after the audition was over. He just said, "You're in, dude."
You're in. You're in.
Like I played, a pretty complex classical piece to a pretty good level for a high schooler, especially one that
Mhm.
hadn't had private lessons growing up. Like for me, that's
Yeah.
crazy. I just worked that
Yeah.
hard.
It was all self-taught, right?
Yeah. And then, I'm just like, "Oh, but I can also just do this thing on the spot, by the way." I just have the skill in my tool belt. I'm Batman.
It's a flex. It is a flex.
Yeah.
Like, that was 100%. You were like, "Oh, you wanna see jazz? No, I'll do it right now.
Yeah,
Right
but it
here."
was a confidence that came from, like, just a love of expressing myself through that medium, so any chance I get, I was like, "I'll
Yeah.
perform. I'll do that. Easy."
Yeah. Yeah, you were like, "I love doing this, so it's not, a hassle for me to perform this
But then
right
in
now."
college, I didn't really have those opportunities. I even took an improv class, but it wasn't me going with my trombone and doing improv. It was a beginner
Yeah.
course for everyone who doesn't know how to do that.
True.
And so I just never I took an improv class in college, but I never got to actually do that stuff. which which sucks because I was like, oh, maybe it's like high school. I can get
'Cause
this
it
class, but then it's like, nope, that's not even what you're here for. And I'm like, okay, that kind of sucks.
kinda
And then the
sucks,
jazz
yeah.
bands, like,
Yeah.
there's so many talented people I was playing with, and so of course they would get the solos.
Yeah.
And depending on what chair I was in the jazz band, that's where a lot of the solos went. Like second trombone usually gets a lot of the solos.
Okay.
But I would literally have to ask, like, hey, can I get some solos, please? Can I have a way to express myself in the way that I enjoy? But all that being said, I wasn't flexing to be better than someone or just be like, oh, I'm better than everyone else. I can do jazz. You want to see it? Yeah. Fuck these guys, right?
No, I know that. I know that. You're not an egomaniac or
Or a
anything.
little bit, but even just like
Nah,
with, I wanted to be better than people back in the day. But when it came to
yeah.
that skill, that was never something I had an ego about. It was just so good for my soul. And I think
Yeah.
having there's a difference between like the flow state and expressing yourself. You just hate me, don't you? You just
I just can't stop yawning.
oh my
I'm sorry.
god.
I'm very interested. No,
Oh,
keep going. Keep going.
oh,
Keep
I love what
going.
you're saying. It's so hold on. If I nap while you're talking, I'll start dreaming about it, and then I'll have some insight. But all that
No.
being said, is like it's you express yourself through a skill, any skill,
Yeah.
but don't do it because you're trying to outdo someone else. Because then you're not expressing yourself. Then you just had an ego.
Yeah.
But
So you like basically, you're saying you should express yourself for you.
yeah,
Like don't express yourself to show off to others, right?
exactly.
Like the whole goal of being your true self is not to,
I mean, if you're performing
you
or
know,
like doing something, like you can showboat a little bit. You can like show off. Like I've worked really hard on this, and I want you to see how good I really am.
yeah,
But
but like I don't think every scenario you should be like, "Oh, no, this is me."
because then you're not
Like
expressing yourself anymore.
it's
You think about everyone else.
no, you're and I think that's where people get confused a lot of times, you
Yeah,
know? Like the difference between expressing your true authentic self
and winning,
and then expressing yeah,
and
and
being
winning,
focused on winning. I'm
you
like,
know?
I won. I won this
Right,
interaction. See how good I am?
right. I don't know. It's something that I struggle with in my life a
Oh
lot
yeah.
is, you know, like especially in group settings.
I didn't mean to do this. Sorry. Oh yeah, you do struggle. Yeah, you. It's- oh yeah,
100%.
you're struggling right now.
You're like, that's you. That's you. Yep. You're speaking facts right now. No, but in a lot of group settings, it's like I did the whole, mirroring personalities and everything. And I can still do that and some scenarios require it,
Yeah,
right? Some professional situations you have to mirror,
you gotta
otherwise
match the
they are
vibe.
not going to respect you. Yeah, no. Simple as that. Simple as that.
You can't be going
Um
into these
but
situations like looking for attention, looking for validation, trying to show off to everybody because it just no one likes that.
No, and a lot of times, that comes off as being self-centered and not giving a shit about like what the meeting is actually about. Like, let's say you go to an interview and you're just like, it's like
You sounded like a
the
sim.
interviewer. Like the interviewer is not going to be like, wow, I really like this guy, he really knows what he's talking about. It's like, no, like
No
this
one's like,
dude
I
is just
love a big
so full
ego.
of
So hot.
no, no,
Confidence is
I don't think
key,
those words,
but
but ego is something else entirely. You can't just go it like walk into a room and act like you own it and expect everyone to be okay with it.
yeah,
Unless you literally don't give a shit what anyone else think, then why are you worried in the first
I
place?
think ego
Or why
is
are you being showboaty in the first
yeah, I
place?
think ego is more people trying to control people's like reaction to you rather than just being
Yeah,
confident in who you really are authentically. That's
yeah,
real confidence.
yeah. No, I agree with that.
Yeah. And just not
It's
focused on like winning every interaction. It's not a competition. I do have that competitive
no,
spirit and I love winning. Growing up, whenever my friends would play with me or my siblings or anything, I just fucking shit on them. I just fucking destroy them because I just don't show any mercy. It's like I like
yeah,
winning. I want to win. Oh, this feels good. This is great. Um, and I had to learn grace and like compassion, which are things that took a
Hmm.
long time for me to develop. But
It's hard to if you don't have them, off the bat. Like it's hard to form those new feelings or mannerisms.
yeah, like people would say like, "Oh, I'll try out Smash Brothers," and then like the first few
Yeah.
matches, I just completely shit on them. I'm just like destroying them. Or like, oh, I'll, like they're being playful and it's like, oh yeah, I actually play this character really well, and I'm like, oh cool. They have no idea. I'm like, you know, I watch professional Smash and I like study it, and so I'm doing things professionals do, and they didn't think of that because like most people when they're good at
Yeah.
Smash or good at something in the small circle, like with just who they interacted with growing up, they aren't
Hmm.
they're at like a lower level than like people who study the professionals.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like me in high school. Like
Yeah.
I thought I was really good in high school at trombone, but then I get to
Hmm.
college and I realize it's a whole different plane of professionalism and
It was
skill.
like, yeah,
And so,
it was like a whole nother, group of people that you're competing
yeah,
against,
and when you have
competing
instructors that are
against.
compassionate towards that and really try to bring the best out of you, that's super good, super good. And
True.
at first,
Yeah.
my instructor didn't do that, but I think, we warmed up to each other after a while, and he then focused on trying to get the best out of me and realized what my strengths were.
Okay.
But, I didn't have that compassion for other people. I had to learn that. You could still express yourself through doing the things that you love without winning everything. It's more like collaborative. You're bringing everyone into it. You have to have an energy that invites people in to the things that you love. That's what true confidence is,
True.
in my opinion.
I agree. Yeah. I think, yeah.
Like for instance,
Yeah.
when you brought me into Deep Rock Galactic, I have
True.
no idea what's going on, and you're being patient with me. I'm dying all the time, and you're not like, dude, you fucking suck. Like, you're the worst player I've ever fucking experienced in my life. But I was dying a lot. I'm like, oh, I need res, and getting a little frustrated. And you're like, it's okay, it's all right, fine, man, it's good. We'll
Yeah.
get through it. It's okay. You're learning. If you didn't have any compassion for
I
me, I would hate
well,
the game. I would hate the thing that you
yeah.
enjoy.
Yeah. And it would make me dislike the game more because it's like, I wanted Ryan to love this and then he didn't and I got mad and he got mad and it would, blah blah blah. But, I was dealing with it in a way that, I wanted
You
you to
invited me in.
experience it with and I wanted you to experience it in a way that is not toxic.
Yeah, or stressful. Because again, anyone learning something new, it's gonna be stressful. Again,
They're gonna make
my
mistakes.
Strauss Brothers experience. Again, I study professional Smash, and I'm like really into it.
Yeah.
So when someone says they're good at
Yeah.
Smash, they probably aren't at professional level. But me going in there and
Yeah.
shitting on them makes them not want to play the game with me anymore,
Yeah.
and it makes
Yeah.
it not fun for them if they just can't even play the game. So what I learned
Right.
eventually was like, oh, you know what? We'll be on the same team and we'll play against different teams. So we'll work together,
Mhm.
collaborate, and try to win. And so then I can put my full skills on display because maybe they're lacking in certain areas. And so they might die first in the 2v2, but they still have moments to shine because all the focus, like both enemies are not focused on them. If I'm doing more, they'll probably focus on me. But then they get a
True.
chance to actually
True.
do something. And I can protect them and allow them to experience the game through a different lens.
That is true. It's a very good
Yeah,
point. Yeah.
inviting energy. You can't have an ego about all these things. You want to collaborate, you want to bring people
Yeah.
in.
Yeah. And especially like showing off something that you enjoy to someone who you care about. Why make it a negative experience?
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be shitty for both
Yeah,
parties.
I can give you
No one's gonna have
an
fun.
extreme example where it's like I'm really into boxing
Yeah.
too, and I like to teach my little
Yeah.
brother boxing moves that I learn through professional boxers.
Yeah.
And so and things I work on. But like if we were actually getting gloves on and then, you know, I'm trying to teach him this thing and I just fucking wail on him. He's not gonna want to box anymore. It's
You just knock him out one.
and also you're not gonna feel good for hurting someone that you love. And so,
No,
like with my little
no.
brother, I like to do things where it's like, okay, so put your hand here, and then when I do this, block it. There you go, and then I make it a
Yeah,
collaborative experience. Like, okay, now you try to do it on me. Boom, boom.
right.
Like actual like,
You gotta like be involving, like involve the other
yeah. And
person.
I learned
You know.
that I have like a love for like teaching people things about what I like to do. That's what I originally
Hmm.
went to college for, like music education, because
Yeah.
I loved music at the time, so I wanted to share that with everybody. Of course, that's not the path I went down, but it's a quality that I have, and I think it's really important, especially when you're stressed about something. Imagine teaching me about Deep Rock Galactic while you're stressed about something else. Like, no, you're gonna be here. Your mind's gonna be with
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. No. Yeah. No, that's very true though. I mean, it's hard to multitask, period, but if you are stressed about something else that is not your current situation, that's going to be the only thing on your mind. Like those two things are going to be the only thing on your mind.
And then you
And
go into like harmful ways of managing your stress,
right,
which is something that like I
right.
would really want everyone to
Or you
avoid.
go down right, or you go down like rabbit holes in your mind, like thinking like, "Oh, what if this? What if this? What if this?"
You think
And then
everything
you go down the
causes
what if
something
rabbit
else,
hole.
right?
Right, right. And then you start imagining essentially every negative situation or negative outcome imaginable for one situation
Yeah, I do this all the time. Like,
when you shouldn't,
I get in my head about something where, like, something that's not going to happen, right? But then
Yeah.
I play out the interaction in my head, and I'm like, well, what if it went differently? But it's always a negative thing. And then somewhere along the line, I'm arguing against Kevin Feige about a cinematic universe with movies in my mind, and I'm like pissed off when someone tries to talk to me, and I'm like, can't you see I'm arguing with Kevin Feige right now? I just imagine these situations that fucking piss me off because like you said, like your mind just goes other places,
Right,
and so I'm just
right.
having like a heated argument with
And
someone I've never met in my head, and then someone tries to talk to me. I'm like, what?
you're like, can you do you not see? I'm having a conversation right here.
I'm trying to sign a deal with
I'm
Marvel
currently
Studios, and you're over here yapping in my ear like, "Where's the fucking soap?"
I mean, it's hard, you know. Shit gets jaded
Oh yeah,
sometimes,
like your stress
and
will make your mind
it's
go
hard
other
to
places, and maybe you try to deal with it like
always.
numbing, like drinking, vaping, like you said, and
Smoking, you know, doing whatever, using any sort of coping mechanism as or you
as
know,
a
in
replacement
not
for
not any coping mechanism, but any
yeah,
negative coping
as a
mechanism, meaning using like
yeah, as
substance.
a way of replacing actually working through your problems because that's harder. That's harder. It's way
Yeah.
easier to numb, and I have been doing that,
Yeah.
a lot of my life, just disassociating, feeling numb about all the
Yeah. No,
situations.
I mean same here. Same here.
So, like this point in our
Yeah.
lives, I'm really about trying to figure these things out, and the
Yeah.
podcast is a great way for me to express this stuff. I don't talk about this stuff in
Agreed.
other
Yeah.
places. So when I talk to you about
Yeah.
this, it feels super fulfilling and
It feels like I like we can really get some words in, you know.
yeah,
It's like no, like this is how I think about that.
yeah,
Like hear me out, like this is my thought process on it, what's yours, you know? And then we
and we get this out of our head.
have
We get that clutter out of
yeah.
our head, and also teaching things, the things that
And it
we're learning as young adults.
right.
I'm learning from my therapist. It's all stuff that's valuable to us, and I think it can be valuable
Yeah.
to others, which is why I talked about like teaching people things and having an energy that invites
Mhm.
people in. I really want that
100%.
here as well because you've seen I've been like really sad at the beginning of some of the episodes we've recorded, but by the end I'm actually in a way better mood
Yeah.
because
It's
I'm
healing.
really
It's
expressing
healing.
myself through this.
That's why we do it,
Yeah.
right?
I'm glad we're doing this, man. I really am.
Me too. I was just thinking about that earlier. I was like I was thinking about getting on here. I was like, you know what? I really appreciate us doing this. Like this is, keeping me afloat.
Yeah, like honestly,
It's given me it gives us something to, work towards, be better at outside of, the shit that we deal with on a daily
yeah,
basis,
and it gives kind of like a sense of purpose. And your
right?
organizational skills have really benefited my life in a meaningful way.
Oh, well, I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, I
That's
never want you to think your work goes to waste because it's genuinely like appreciated. I can't say it enough. You do great stuff, and
I
it really helps me too.
well, that's awesome to hear. It's always a blast,
Yeah,
man.
it's great, and we
One
always
of my
grow closer
feelings.
because of these things.
We do.
With
We do.
that being said, thank you all so much for
Whew.
watching this episode of the Talking Cock podcast. It's been great.
Whoop
I've
whoop.
honestly really enjoyed talking this episode. I think like halfway through
Yeah, there's fun.
recording this, I was just like, "Oh, this is good. This is really good." I feel very, very good about what we're doing here. And
I've been smiling for like 20 minutes or something.
we've
I
been
don't know.
smiling. We've both been smiling for the past like 20 minutes. It's just been a great time.
Yeah.
If you guys want more things talking cock, make sure you to go to all my links /TNC Pod and check out our other socials. You know, we're really trying to invite people in and get some opinions. That's what we want to do. We want everything to be a learning experience.
Right.
We're not perfect. We might get some things wrong,
Yeah.
but
And we do, and when we do, people on YouTube never fail to call us out on our bullshit. So we want you to, do the same. If you have a disagreement, put it down in the comments. We do not care if
or
it is negative or positive. Like we want to we want to
yeah,
interact with
let's
y'all.
make it meaningful interaction. Don't be like, you guys
Yeah.
fucking
Well,
suck,
well, well,
bro.
well, yeah. Obviously, don't do that. Like that's a waste of everyone's time. But
If you have a
if you have something meaningful to contribute,
yeah,
definitely do. We would
always
love to
like
hear.
I don't know, invite things in, even when your comments just be like,
Yeah.
this is how I express stress, and maybe this is something that can help
Yeah.
someone else. Maybe you can help me, bro.
Yeah.
um,
Help them.
but with that being said, thank you all. We love you. Make sure you hit like on this and subscribe, and we'll see you later.
Yes.
Peace out.